Hey folks, how you doing? Chuck Holton here. I am live from my hotel room in Kyiv, and I just wanted to give you a quick update because I'm getting a lot of calls from people around the world, text messages asking if I'm okay because they're hearing that there was a journalist killed today, and that's true. This guy was an American journalist. They said he worked for the New York Times because he had a New York Times press card on him. But he was not working for the New York Times. It's really not uncommon for people like us to have multiple press cards from our last 5 gigs on us, So it's not a conspiracy or a surprise or anything that he had that New York Times press card. He wasn't pretending. He just probably had worked for them at one point and had a New York Times press card on him. But so here's what happened. This guy, along with another American journalist, went out to Irpin, where we have been reporting for the last week or so, off and on. We've been out there several times, and there's a bombed out bridge. The friendly forces have a casualty collection point about 3 kilometers back from that bridge, and it's just like a road through the woods, so there's not anything in between. So there's the bombed out bridge, there's a long road, a checkpoint or a blocking position, and then a casualty collection point. On the other side of the bridge, going northwest, is the city of Irpin, and then there's another bridge kind of in the middle, and there's a sister city right next to it called Bucha. You've probably been hearing about those two places because there's been a lot of fighting there over the last week or more. Russian forces have pretty much taken Bucha, haven't quite taken Irpin, and so there's a blocking position and a checkpoint kind of between the two on that second bridge. Now, when we have been there, we've gone right up to the outskirts of Irpin on the southeast side, but have not actually gone into Irpin it proper because there's a lot of shooting going on in there. It's not a good idea. Um, and you would have to be crazy to try to get into Bucha itself. But it sounds like apparently that's maybe what those guys were trying to do. They got a ride from the bridge that's bombed out, where the refugees have been streaming out of there, on the friendly side. They got a ride from that bridge to the Bucha bridge, and when they got up there, they got fired up by Russian troops on the other side. Uh, Ukrainian troops got in a firefight with them as well. We had some fellow journalists from our hotel here that work for Al Jazeera who were in that area and listened. They sent us video of the firefight, and it sounds like World War III up there. I mean, they're just tons of small arms, like one of those where uh, you have happen from time to time where uh, the enemy shoots a couple rounds and then everybody on this side just opens up with everything they've got. They don't even really know what they're shooting at. They just know that somebody's shooting at them and they're all shooting back. So it sounds like it could have been something like that. Anyway, the journalists were kind of caught in between. They were trying to get away. Both the journalists were shot. Unfortunately, this one that died was shot right through the back of the head and killed. So almost immediately, pictures started coming out of his identity documents. Pictures started coming out of uh, his body. Of course, those are not things that ought to be shared uh, anytime at all, and especially if the family has not had a chance to be, advised of what happened. But immediately on Twitter, his name, everything was been getting shared. That was pretty terrible. Not long after that, we got in the car and drove out there uh, to kind of see what was going on, and they had completely closed off the bridge to um, any refugees coming out of Irpin. They had just shut it down for today. They said they might open it up again tomorrow, but that's all. Um, so, hey, Matt, good to see you. Uh, so anyway, that's what happened this with this American guy that got killed. He just got a little too close to the fire, and you got to be really careful about that kind of thing, especially in an environment like this. Now, a couple of interesting notes. Last night, I put up some video on Facebook of uh, just the sounds that I was hearing from the window of my hotel of explosions in the distance, and it sounded like some. I mean, not just a few major explosions, but hundreds and hundreds of major explosions. It was obviously a grad missile attack, and I thought, wow, the Russians must be really pushing to try to get into Kyiv, which I found kind of surprising because they're just not prepared to do that. This, when you look at the disposition of their forces, they're just not. They're not prepared to take Kyiv yet, and they're still outside the city limits. So I thought, wow, that's a major attack. There must be, and then there was also some shooting over on the other side. Well, yeah, that's right, Coleman. They said that the Times said he was not on assignment with them, and I mentioned that before. He had a press card from New York Times, but he was not on assignment from them. That's common. I have a press card for several different agencies that I work with, and so if I got shot and somebody went through my pockets, they'd probably find one for CBN and think I was working for CBN when actually I'm here for Newsmax. That's normal. Anyway, that grad missile attack we heard last night, I thought, wow, it must be a big push by the Russians. As it turns out, it was the other way around. It was the Ukrainians attacking the Russians with grad missiles, and they must have really hurt them. And we didn't hear anything today. I was expecting to hear about, blown up apartment buildings and civilian casualties and everything. And I was kind of thought it was strange that we hadn't heard anything all day. And then we went out there and talked to a soldier on the blocking position, and he said, "Oh no, that was outgoing. All that was outgoing." So you see, Ukraine is not only fighting Russia to a standstill. Those guys in Bucha, those Russians that are in Bucha, have essentially been in Bucha for like 10 days. They've been there for a long time. And it's not that Russia's not making any gains, they're just not making gains very fast, and they're actually being pushed back in some places. So we have seen some counterattacks where they've actually today up in Chernihiv in the north, they took back three villages from the Russians. They pushed the Russians out of three villages around Chernihiv. So the war is not decided, and it's a mistake to just assume that the Russians are very soon going to take over and it's all going to be over. It might happen, but right now the Ukrainians are putting up one heck of a fight. They're doing a great job, and we feel very safe here in downtown Kyiv. I'm 10 miles from where the fighting was today. We drove out there to where it is and looked at it, but uh, it's not reaching into the city yet. And we're at a nice hotel, and we've got not room service, but we've got 3 meals a day, and we've got a gym, we've got security and all that. So anyway, that's all for today. I just wanted to let you guys know about that, and thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.